Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Olson, and welcome to the final interview in this summer's Juice Plus 90-day game. We have almost 13,000 people in the game, and we are in the last few days of the last 90 days here for the 2018 series. I can't think of a better way to end this. We started out in July with a start strong as our theme. August, we moved into being brave through vulnerability. And now the theme for this month is finish strong as we head into both the European and the U.S. North American conferences. And who we have today to sort of bookend and wrap up the finish strong part of our conversation is Director of Clinical Research for Juice Plus, Dr. Manfred Lamprecht. He's the science guy. He's the guy you see on the videos trying to take all of the complex science in our research and translate it into the videos, which many of you have seen. And if you've not, you need to go to the YouTube channel and look at all those. He's the science guy who brings all of that stuff to life. One of the things that I get excited about when I hear Manfred Lamprecht is he comes from my sandbox, my historical sandbox of kind of an athletic mindset, of a performance mindset. But he now runs and serves as the Director of Clinical Research for this global health food company we know and love as Juice Plus. And so what I'd like to do today is just let you kind of hear who, what, how, where, when, why, what he's excited about, what he's working on, why he should be in Tampa. And I think for the new people, this is really for you to help you kind of get that this company not only is to something, but the body of efficacy that Manfred is focused on has got your back. And there's more in store. And again, if you're new, the company's mission and vision and goal has been always to be the most clinically researched, peer-reviewed, and scientifically published health food product in the world. And you're going to hear straight from the man who heads it all up. So Manfred, thank you. It's late there in Europe, but that's the beauty of the Zoom technology. Maybe just introduce yourself and just tell us who Dr. Manfred Lamprecht is. What's your past, how you got here, and where you sit today in the role of where you are with the company. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff, for your introduction. I'm very excited to join this interview with you. So yes, I mean, where I am, I'm based now here in Austria in mid-Europe. I was born and raised in Graz, Austria. It's a city about 2 hours car drive south of Vienna. I also studied in Graz and Vienna, exercise science and medicine. And I earned a PhD in exercise physiology and one in medical science. So, and then I had my habilitation in 2009, which gives you the certification that you can train PhD candidates. It's a kind of a professorship. And so I'm affiliated to the Medical University of Graz, Austria over lifetime. But as you mentioned, since 2013, I'm also now affiliated to Juice Plus as the responsible person for the clinical research program. But I think of interest is for sure for the viewers and all the people listening that how it came up, this relationship, this approach to Juice Plus. And this was much longer ago than just 5-6 years. This was in 03, 04, when I met a distributor who introduced me Juice Plus as a product with this exciting concept of dried fruit and vegetable powders and capsules. And he gave me a publication at this time, which was published in 03 by the Blotnick Group and then cardiovascular research. And I was pretty impressed that such a renowned journal like the Journal of the American College of Cardiology publishes a paper on this product. So it caught me in some way as a researcher. It caught my interest, and then I came into connection with the company, and I headed 2 clinical studies in the past before I joined the company, if you want to say so, in my role as Director of Clinical Research. So I headed the first study was the COBRA study with this special anti-terrorism force. So more or less a very sport-affiliated research program project, because these guys are very fit. And the second study, a few years later, was called the Strong Women Study, with women who were investigated on skin microcirculation, but also cardiovascular disease outcome. And only after that study then, which was published in 2013, I joined the company to take over and to head this clinical research program, which is really a tremendous step in my professional life, because I was more than 20 years in an academic environment. And then I moved to a industry research setting, let me say so. So I had colleagues who were doubting whether I could have a chance to become happy there. And now when I'm reflecting the last five and a half years, I do not regret a minute. I think it was one of the wisest steps I did in my life. So,
wow.
Just to address a little bit.
20 years as an academic researcher thrown into this sandbox of independent contractors trying to take all of your mind and put it out there in the world and translate that. Thank you for all the videos that you've done to help translate some of that research. And if those of you that are new, I think it's important to understand kind of the history of Juice Plus and the commitment to peer-reviewed published clinical efficacy. And that we have a forest of studies now, and you can focus on any one of the trees, but maybe help the new people, Manfred, understand the depth, the breadth of the body of efficacy, number one, and how we're positioned in the industry with that body of efficacy. And then number two, kind of what is exciting you most about some of the new things that are kind of coming in terms of possible research studies and studies that are pending and you see out of the next few years. And then again, maybe kind of close with what you've learned from being part of the Juice Plus company now, our commitment to remaining in that position as the lead dog, the leader in pioneering the evidence and the efficacy around the power of plants and these plant powders.
Mm-hmm. So as I'm a research person, I do easiest to handle with data. And therefore, you said to address perhaps new people joining us, I think it's good to argument with numbers. So, for example, the Juice Plus research program was set up more than 20 years ago in the 90s. So this is pretty unique for a company in this segment to have a research program, an established continuous research program over more than 2 decades. And this history of research entered into 38 peer-reviewed publications up to now, to today, September 2018.
38? It's 38 published studies?
38 peer-reviewed original articles traceable on the most important database in the world on PubMed. So this is, I think, very impressive. The research, clinical research, was conducted on more than 2,000 people. And the collaborations were conducted with more than 30 institutions and universities, entities all over the world, specifically in North America, but also in Europe, in Australia and Asia. So I think these data per se make already give a unique picture of the research program up to now that started in mid-90s. And
is there any other company? Is there any company that even comes close to us? And like, are we so far ahead that it's not even a race? Or is there any other companies? And if there are, you don't need to mention them. But it seems to me we're so far ahead of the pack that it's kind of ridiculous.
So Jeff, I try to be humble. So I do not know everything out there. So, but really, to my best knowledge, I think this is not comparable. So to have so many publications with this level and let's say gold standard of research, most of the publications are double-blinded, placebo-controlled, They are conducted at universities with very, very renowned names in North America and in Europe. So I'm not aware of any other product that is investigated in such a comprehensive way than Juice Plus Premium, at least the fruit, vegetable, and berry capsule product. So since we are chatting now about this data, I have to apologize. I forgot your second question. Then
well, no, just maybe kind of transition into kind of what you're working on now, okay. Kind of what's in the funnel. What does the future look like out of the next several years? I know we've heard about microbiota. We've heard about brain health. We've heard about bring to life kind of what you're working on now. What's a day in the life of Manfred Lamprecht? What are you working on?
All right. Yeah. So perfect. We always try to be on the pulse of time, and that this goes also to research. So you have to be flexible. And you also have to pick up the new knowledge as soon as you can, and to implement it into your research program. And as you already mentioned a few fields we are working on now, or where we have studies already underway. Like for example, it's microbiome research. We have now also research underway on cognitive function, brain health. We are of course, try to find new ways, perhaps a little bit appearing very sophisticated for some people, like we call that nutrigenomics. But it's a very, very exciting field. We already have a publication on that Juice Plus can influence genes in a beneficial way to benefit health. So these are a few examples: microbiome, nutrigenomics, brain metabolism, cognitive function. Of course, even though it's a not very scientific term, but we're also very deeply involved more and more, and this is more and more coming up in the future, is the topic aging. So, I mean, we all age, and we know that oxidation, for example, is a major part from the biochemical part of aging. So, and we know from the research and from the evidence research on Juice Plus from published papers that the reduction of oxidative stress is perhaps one of the key strengths of Juice Plus. So, of course, aging is also becoming more and more a topic in future. And as you can imagine, to conduct an aging study cannot be done in a few weeks. You have to observe whether people really age. So this is really a long-term project over the next years. So I would see us now starting with more intensive research, for example, on aging, but we will be also there in 10 years, probably ahead from now. So also all the omics research is something I think that becomes more and more potential, like nutrigenomics or proteomics, metabolomics, and all this omics research, which is pretty sophisticated, very modern, you need a lot of experts and in part expensive facilities for that. But I think these fields of research have a very, very good potential to be translated into also public language. So because it's understandable, for example, it's coming from the nutrigenomic field, but if you have a product that influences genes who modulate, for example, lipid metabolism, and that regulates your cholesterol to get a better cholesterol level, I think it's understandable at the end then. So if it comes from influencing a gene and ends up with lowering a cholesterol level, so therefore, I think there is a liaison between sophisticated appearing omics research and outcome, which is understandable for everybody. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where it goes. These are the main topics we try to cover. Where we want to go, where we want to get more and more expertise. I also want let me let me allow to reflect just 1 minute what we already had in the past. I think Juice Plus already showed a lot of evidence in regard of cardiovascular research, cardiovascular prevention and health, in regard of redox biology, avoiding oxidative stress, damaging of proteins or DNA was avoided or significantly reduced by Juice Plus intervention. So I think these are fields we already demonstrated in the past that Juice Plus works, which is already not only published in papers, it's commonly accepted among academics I talk to at congresses that Juice Plus works. But we do not want to neglect these fields totally also in the future. So we want to stay with our strengths, but strengths like cardiovascular research, redox biology, but inflammation, but we want to keep these topics also in our research portfolio. Also immunity, for example, is a huge topic where Juice Plus performs very well.
So if I'm hearing you, we're gonna keep adding to the replicated body of efficacy in the areas where we've shown value, but we're gonna continue to pioneer in other new areas.
Exactly. We spread out, we get a little bit broader, and try to combine these new fields. For example, microbiome research does not exclude redox biology. If your microbiome is improved, you have less oxidative stress, for example. So, the links are clicking together, basic research and trendy research topics. You can match these topics, and we try to accomplish that in the work.
What are you most excited about right now? And that question number one.
Okay.
Question number two is, we were chatting prior to hitting the record button here, and for those of you that are thinking of coming to Tampa, I'm going to let Manfred sort of paint a little bit of a picture on, there's going to be some announcements, and you got to be in the room to hear the announcements. So what are you most excited about? And give people a kind of hint of what they might be hearing or what they should expect to hear in Tampa.
So it's very difficult to respond now with just one thing that excites me the most. So I'm also, I cannot do a ranking. I just want to mention a few points that are exciting me around Juice Plus. So my excitement as a researcher, and this is from the very beginning, started already 15 years ago, are the products per se, and specifically the premium product, the concept, the idea, putting specifically the micronutrients of valuable fruits and vegetables together in a capsule and to make this bioeffective. That means that it works in human physiology. So so my excitement starts with the products, with the material I can work with. So this makes the research sing. If you have a team where each player is top class, you love being a coach, right? So here I have a top portfolio of products, and each product is so excited to do research on that. So unfortunately, the days are not long enough to do what I like to do. But so that's
yeah, and kind of just the last question as it relates to the company's commitment to helping you, empowering you to go out and sort of pioneer and push the envelope, how these plant powders can make an impact in the human body. That's going to continue on, but the company is also trying to step up and be a leader in the whole plant food conversation. And this is kind of maybe a fun announcement that's coming in Tampa that you're going to be making an announcement on. Just maybe as context, the company trying to take a leadership in the whole industry of the world of plant powder research and what that might mean for folks showing up in Tampa.
Exactly. I mean, this is also basically the other point that is so important and makes the work for this company so grateful, that as a researcher, you can totally explore your free spirit. There's no one who tells me, Manfred, this is not allowed to be thought about, or so this hypothesis, forget it. So we can brain everything. We get the freedom to brain, and I think that's a base for research. And coming from this freedom of the spirit, for me and the research team, we have a we started with a very interesting idea a little bit than a year ago, to support not just our research program. It's really a statement in the field of plant-based nutrition research, and this has something to do with some new structures incorporate or affiliated to our research, basically, but not only to Choose Plus research, also to plant-based nutrition research. So this I think will be something new and very interesting and exciting for people to hear that when we can announce this in Tampa then.
That's translated for those of you who
Yes.
want a little more. You got to be in Tampa, and you will learn how our company is stepping into a leadership role in the whole world about the power of plants in the human body. Beyond just our plant powders, being a pioneer and an advocate and a leader in the space, you're going to be hearing some fun, exciting news here in about a month. I want to shift gears a little bit. I have the luxury of being the interviewer, and I picked Manfred several months ago to be one of our interviewees on this series, and he comes from a sports nutrition background. We were talking earlier about human performance should be accessible to everyone because it's just getting the body to work better. Mm-hmm. But as it relates to those that are fit, that are off the couch, that are doing stuff, that are less concerned about prevention and wellness, but just want to make the body work. Like I say, I'm 52. I want to drive physiological durability. Like for me, physiological durability is the adaptive response, it's recovery. That's my man brain. That's a testosterone conversation. But in terms of, getting the body to work better, give people kind of a sense of how you view these little fruit and vegetable powders as a ergogenic, advantage. And ergogenic means just an advantage, a tool and a toolkit that's advantageous for the best athletes in the world, all the way down to the weekend warrior and your grandmother. Like how getting the body to work better. You've pioneered some research in this area with the Cobra study. I want you to bring that to life here in a moment. But where do you see these plant powders helping kind of pull sports nutrition into the 21st century, really?
Yeah, I would, in my belief, sports nutrition is really more than just delivering direct energy, than just making you, giving you a better performance at the moment. It's sports nutrition should provide more. It should provide physiological, psychological performance. It should stabilize immune system. Why? For example, if you can stabilize your immune system, an athlete can train more and more effective. So he has no loss in his training calendar, and so he can adhere to his goals, to the competitions. So he can stay in the program to be fit in a certain time period, in a certain month. So I think immune stabilization is very, very important for athletes, and not only for us and for non-athletes specifically, also for sporty people. And I think also the cognitive function becomes more and more important in the field of sports nutrition, because if you are fit in your cognition, for example, in team sports, but it also from your professional sports in skiing, you find easier through the gates, right? So,
yeah.
So what I want to say is that Choose Plus it's not a sport. Choose Plus is not a sport nutrition product, of course, but all the products have capability to act as a real support for athletes because they support and stabilize immune system. It helps getting winter athletes better through the season without a cold or with less common colds. It supports with the micronutrients microbiome function, which we just investigate. It supports probably, we do not have data yet on that, but we hypothesize also cognitive function. So
I say it does three things. I say, it activates physiology, it protects physiology, and it modulates physiology. Modulation of immune system, protection from oxidative damage and inflammation, and activate, endothelial function, healthy microbiome. So those three kind of pillars. I'm really excited about the next 20 years and helping kind of the field understand that what we're doing as a company and these plant powders is really at the you said it's not a sports nutrition product, and I can buy you a beer and we can have a debate about that, but I actually think it is, because we're not trying to market ourselves as a sports nutrition product per se, because we span the cross of human physiology and getting it to work better. And I've always said human performance nutrition, let's say, is a higher form actually of sports nutrition, because it fuels for physiological function first and sports sort of performance second. So that's where Manfred and I can go off and have a good time and talk geek stuff. But kind of in closing, just on this, I would love for you to bring to life the study that many of us reference out in the field, which kind of brought you into the Juice Plus conversation, really. And this was the COBRA study. And for those of you who don't know, the COBRAs, they're the equivalent of kind of the Navy SEALs. In America, they're the elite special forces in Austria and Europe. And that particular study was done on a treadmill at anaerobic threshold, where biochemistry starts to get a little wonky. 7-month study between a placebo group and a Juice Plus group. And what was shown in this study, I'm going to ask Manfred to bring to life, the results of that was published then in the journal of choice of the sports science community, which is Medicine, Science, and Sports and Exercise. And it was provocative, and I use it all the time just to get people's attention. You can damage carbohydrates in the system, you can damage lipids in the system, and you can damage proteins in the system. And there's eating protein, but then there's protecting protein. So bring to life the COBRA study and the results over that 7-month period, because this is that all the time in the field, and it'd be great to hear directly from the researcher.
This is a very interesting study also for us, because if you observe a cohort over several months and you also monitor their stress profile and they see and you observe that the stress profile is increasing, and you can see in parallel, for example, that also their oxidation, for example, of proteins is increasing. And if you intervene them with Juice Plus, this is going back down. So I think this was the most exciting statement from this study, specifically when performing people are under stress and need to bring a certain performance, need to be prepared. Increased oxidation occurs, and in this period you need something like Juice Plus. And I think you need Juice Plus because I do not know anything else that's like Juice Plus. So, and getting back to my statement before, I have to correct me a little bit. I had heard to my statement that Juice Plus is not a sport nutrition product, but it doesn't mean that an athlete should not implement Juice Plus in his nutrition. It's a must for his nutrition. So perhaps that's a better formulation, what I want to say. So it's
that's really good. It's foundational. As I say, it's like brushing your teeth. I think plant powders are going to become standard of care in modern medicine. I think plant powders are going to actually become just a daily tool in the toolkit regimen, part of the protocol, part of the regimen for elite athletes. As we all know, athletes struggle to eat 12 servings a day because it doesn't have a lot of calories. So, fruits and vegetables don't service that caloric demand, that caloric requirement. So they tend to be lower in the priority list of getting 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 calories a day. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just doesn't have enough. So plant powders to me are really bridging that gap, and a kind of a no-brainer. So maybe that's kind of a segue into just kind of some closing remarks as it relates to, we all grew up with the scientific method, which is to isolate, compartmentalize, fragment, reduce molecules. And you were intrigued with a study by Dr. Alan Goldfarb, who had been looking at a couple particular vitamins and as it relates to improving oxidative stress. And then he saw and then he did a study with plant powders, and plant powders were doing. And so I'm curious, in the academic communities, in the research communities, in the world that you swim in, are plant powders a known category, or is the industry still trying to look at molecules and still trying to develop a cocktail of 2 or 3 molecules, or are plant powders starting to be known as a kind of rediscover the obvious category, and then of course we lead the category, but I'm curious about that just personally. Are plant powders kind of becoming a known thing in your world?
Yeah, I would say, in my perception, perhaps, I mean, it's difficult to say on powders, but what I can say for sure is that more comprehensive products, closer to the nature, more into the direction whole food, are for sure upcoming than isolated micronutrients or vitamins. Why? Because in the last years, we learned that phytonutrients have many, many beneficial health effects. And where do these phytonutrients occur? In plants. So if you put more than 30 different edible plants together, like you have in Juice Plus, you have a natural orchestra of phytonutrients affecting your physiology. And so from this regard, and also if you look at the published scientific literature coming up more and more, whole food based plants or concentrates, or of course powders then as well, but more comprehensive powders, let me say so, with phytonutrient, with many different phytonutrients, are absolutely on the rise. So I would agree on that, absolutely.
What that means, everyone that's listening, is we have a tremendous tailwind, and it's just how big can you make your sail to carry this message out into the world. So I want to thank Manfred for taking a few minutes. It's late there. I want to be respectful of your time. I could talk to this guy for hours. Maybe we'll get the chance to go skiing together someday.
Yeah, we have to.
But I look forward to seeing you in Tampa. And if you're coming to Tampa for the first time, you get a chance to hear from Manfred and hear some exciting news. So thank you, Manfred. And we will all see you out on the field of play, and finish strong, everyone, this month. And we'll see you about a month in Tampa. Thank you so much, everyone.
Super. Thank you.